All right, heading over to the UC Davis track today. Gonna get in some work on the field actually, and try to cruise around on there a little bit and do some sprints and stuff. I got every gimmick I could think of with me to try to sell you guys all these products at the same time. Now this is a 10-pound med ball that I got off of Amazon. This is from our buddy Steven, Body Lever. I think that's the brand. Oh, actually this is a different brand. But this is one of these things, one of these little clubs. I'm gonna use this in my warm-up today. Gonna have the rope around me for rope flow. And then I have the WEC propulsors in my pocket. We get a little shake and bake in there. Gotta get warmed up really well. The more intense something is, the longer of a warm-up you need. So if you're going in and you're going to a gym and you're just gonna do some, like, let's say you're gonna do a bodybuilding workout. Well, a bodybuilding workout doesn't require like a crazy amount of warm-up, especially if you're working out on a machine and stuff. You can probably get right into your tougher sets within 10 minutes or so. But if you're gonna do something like a sprint, you really need a large diagnostic of your body. And not only do you need a lot of warm-up, you need to use a lot of judgment and try to think to yourself, am I really ready for this for today? You gotta kind of ask yourself that question. And I would say the same might be true of like, well, the same is definitely true of like a powerlifting workout. Maybe even a workout where you're gonna do more explosive stuff, either plyos or you're going to do Olympic lifting. You're gonna throw a shot put, a discus. Any explosive movement, even something like, you know, I think one of the reasons why people are so banged up from stuff like golf, a lot of people that play golf, first of all, a lot of times they're not that fit. But nowadays, you know, because of Tiger Woods, we see people taking fitness more seriously than golf, especially the higher level golfers. But yeah, a lot of golf people are jacked up because when they go to the golf course, there's not really a lot of area to like warm up. You know, they might take a couple swings and then they get out there on the course and then they're trying to really drive the ball, and you got to swing with a great deal of force. So there's nowhere to hide, you know. Louis Simmons famously once said, you can't jump up onto the top of a picnic table slowly. Right? It means like you got to put a lot of force into it. And you can't drive a golf ball a couple hundred yards without putting a lot of force into it. Anyway, the point is like anything you do that has a high intensity, it's going to be an explosive movement, or it's going to be close to some sort of representation of a 1 to 5 rep max. You're going to need quite a bit of warm up for it. If you're training for a marathon and you're doing a lot of slower running and you're doing zone 2 and you're just like jogging and stuff, jogging could actually be your warm-up. You really don't really need much of a warm-up. Although I think it's good to prep the body for everything, so it might be a good idea to, you know, take about a mile or so to allow your body to warm up. But that's only going to take you 8 minutes, 12 minutes, depending on your speed. That doesn't take very long. So yeah, for today we'll do a bunch of skipping, some throwing, some rope flow. Probably start with the rope flow, so that's the easiest thing to start with. What is rope flow for? Well, it's for coordination, mobility, agility, dexterity, kind of mixing all that in there. Working the spine, working the muscles of the back, low back, mid back, obliques, stomach. This is gently pulling me into some different positions It's also going to be kind of pulling me a little bit this way, a little bit vertically, because of the weight of the rope. This rope probably weighs about 1.5 to 2 kg. So got a little weight to it. Works your grip too. My hands are on fire. Works your wrist. This will get into the shoulders pretty good. It's also working on some of that head over foot maneuvering. Kind of fun to try to do it while you're walking too. Now it's really getting my grip because this rope's pretty thick and I just have one hand on it. You kind of hold it like a sword. Whoom, whoom, whoom. You really get those elbows into it too. You pull the elbows up high. Body's starting to get nice and warmed up. Pretty cold out here today. Nothing crazy, but a little bit of wind, a little chilly. So take that extra time to get warmed up. Another great thing about the rope is that you can just throw these things, you know? So you can just like let them go and kind of learn. Like this one, if I just like whip it, you know, it's gonna hit me. So you have to kind of like strategically throw it. But as I've been sharing with you guys more recently, I think that throwing is really, really an amazing thing to be able to do. Just we lose so many capacities as we get older. Probably one of the biggest ones is you lose a lot of range of motion. You also lose the ability to like jump, and you lose the ability to decelerate. So acceleration is one thing, but decelerating is another. So that's like going down the stairs. That would be like jumping down from a curb. When I was in Philadelphia this past weekend, I saw some people, they're running the rocky stairs, and along with the rocky stairs on the side, there's kind of like these big blocks, and I saw these kids jumping down off of these pretty high blocks, probably about this tall. And then they got taller, and I saw the kids, they'd stop and then they like sat down, and then they got down from the thing. And I saw some other people that were older that just looked down at even the shorter blocks, and they were like, nah, and they went a different route. Because yeah, that stuff as you get older can really jack you up. But throwing is a great thing to kind of keep in the mix because of just all the things They're kind of involved. Acceleration, deceleration, a lot of mobility, and a lot of coordination through the core and the hips. That's why I brought a med ball with me today. I'll throw that in a second. Just kind of jog to it. Gives you a little extra exercise in there. Couple sets of skips, walking back. It's important to conserve energy from kind of here on out with the warm up. Be good. Recently heard Stu McMillan on Andrew Huberman's podcast talking about getting your knee behind your butt, and how like it's kind of rare. Like it happens a little bit when you're walking, but if you're sprinting, it's going to happen even more. You see where my knee is in comparison where the booty is. This range of motion is something that's nice to figure out how to get to, so we can preserve this range of motion to a certain degree. So one way to do it is to practice it, is to get into these ranges. Obviously lunges, forward lunges, backwards lunges, running backwards, walking backwards, I think has some utility. And you've seen me do that with the sled a lot and stuff like that. But that act of getting that knee back, I think has a lot of value. I don't think we need to like do it all day, all the time, but I think maybe being thoughtful of it a couple times a week is probably really useful. And for those of you that maybe struggle to do it with forward propulsion, because maybe you're like me, you spend a lot of time in the gym, and like this is uncomfortable in a sprint, for you to get here and have all this thing going on that you see the professional sprinters do, and they look amazing when they do it. Maybe that's a little bit difficult for you. So an easier version of that for now might be to do this. Try to really kick those legs back. Okay, I'm gonna build up to 80% speed, and I'm gonna maintain that for 10 yards. So again, the idea is about 30 yards of going pretty fast, and within that 30-yard time frame, kind of gunning it for 10 yards. Very low volume. There's only going to be about maybe 4 of these sets. I already did 1. Really supposed to do 3, but I guess we'll see how it goes. So the biggest difference for today versus some of the other days where I'm working on speed, the other days I'm working on acceleration. One day of acceleration and one day of max velocity. The acceleration day is when I'm supposed to just start as fast as I can, get up to speed as quickly as possible. In this day, I have as much time as I need to get up to whatever speed I can get, and then I'm just maintaining it for a short period of time. The idea here ultimately is to marry everything together. So I'm responsible because I want to run a 400 meter before my 50th birthday in under 60 seconds. I'm 48, so I still have a good amount of time. In order for me to do that, I can currently run 400 meters in like 1:15 or so. In order for me to accomplish this, I think it makes sense for me to do longer distances that maybe take like 90 seconds. So 500 meter, 600 meter, who the hell even knows how many meters, 800 meters, that kind of work, to have a better lung capacity so I don't completely die when I get to that finish line, which I'll probably completely die anyway. So there's that, right? And then there's also just managing being able to be faster, because my capacity for speed isn't awesome. I need to build that up as well. So if I could haul ass, if I could currently run 18 miles an hour or 20 miles an hour, then none of this would even be much of a challenge. I'd be able to zip around. I'd probably be fit enough to be able to zip around 400 meters and be able to do it in under 60 seconds, probably quite easily. But I sort of suck at both spectrums, and so that's why I'm working on the two different things. When I do my 90-second runs, I'm actually working on form and technique and working on opening up that stride a bit and trying to burn that into my brain, because the intensity is less, just like with lifting. If your max is 400 and you try to continually work with 400, your form is most likely not going to improve. But you need to do a little bit of both, correct? You need to work with 385 and 405 here and there so your body knows what to do with those weights. And you also probably need to work with 365 and 375 for 5 sets of 2 or 5 sets of 1 or something like that, so that you can manage that heavier weight when the time's right. You're building out your nervous system. But in order to fine tune the form and technique, you probably need a lot of repetitions with that particular movement, so over time it's ingrained in your head how to do it. And you would do that if you're a 405 lifter, you'd probably do that with 275 to 315, somewhere in that range. That would be my opinion. And sometimes maybe even lower, really staying at that 275 range and 225 range to grease that groove and to understand the timing of it, because there's so many other things going on that there's not a textbook in the world that can tell you about the finite little fine-tuning things that you need when you're doing some of these activities. Those of you that love running and you feel like you can't stop, I want to encourage you to explore, number one, some cross training. Get yourself on a bike. Get yourself to do some different modalities, some different things. Go on a hike, go on a trail, go on a walk that's challenging, rather than just beating the crap out of your feet and your ankles and your IT band and whatever else the hell else is going on with you. I want to encourage you to do some other stuff as a form of training, and especially getting into the gym. Make sure you're lifting, make sure you're staying resilient with what you're doing, and doing explosive movements, as some of the stuff I did today, the med balls and so on. Those things are, it might not seem like much, but it's going to make a big deal. For me already, I feel like some of the sandbag training is making a big difference, the resilience and the guts it takes to lift those things. I'm not saying from like a biomechanic standpoint I think it's going to do much of anything, but the clenching and the flexing of the muscles very abruptly kind of reminds me of a sprint a little bit. When you go to lift that sandbag off the ground, the hamstrings grab, and when you go to shift, when you have a heavy sandbag and you shift it and try to shoulder it, that also reminds me of some of that elasticity that we have to have. And so for me, so far, I'm feeling like all these things together, all these things combined are really useful. But if you love lifting, you need to figure out a way to stop lifting so much or so frequently. If you love running, it's the same story. is to figure out a way to have mimickers, have other forms of training, other forms of activity that aren't going to be as damaging, or maybe they're not even damaging, but they're repetitive. You're doing them so often. Let's say you love swimming. You absolutely love swimming. You can't get on your day without a great swim workout. Learn to bike, learn to run, learn to cross train, learn to lift. When we have these other things that we can rely on, it makes a big difference. And you can also, if you really love running, you can just run differently. So instead of doing your normal 8-minute mile pace for 5 miles, maybe you slow it down a bit. Maybe you get cushier shoes. Maybe you run on a different surface. The girl here today, she's playing it smart. She's running on the grass. I guarantee you she's got something that's bugging her, but she's like, I need to get out there and run. So she's out here running. I have a little thingy going on with my heel. I got a little owie that's going on. So same thing. I'm like, let me get off those hard surfaces, but let me get a kick-ass workout in. One more set to go. Four good sets, nothing hurts. Everything feels pretty good. I did feel a little tight when I was sprinting. I felt like I was clinching down a little bit. I could feel the point when I let up and slowed down. That felt like it made a big difference. God, I want to run a bunch more of them, but that's it. That's all you get. One. This is just because I need to get used to these. I need to get used to the 400 and how it feels. And the point here too is just to cruise. So stay right here. I might go a little faster towards the end. That was like 140, 142 or so when I stopped. Whew. It'd be really good to get in a workout where I do like 6 of those or 8 of those, all kind of around a 140. It'd be a really good workout. But that's down the road. I'm basically treating this as if I'm an off-season track athlete. So the specifics of the 400 meter, I don't have to actually do that since I'm not going to actually race in it for a while. I do feel like I'm making a lot of improvements, so I think I will enter a track meet this year for sure, 100%. sometime in 2025. It is going to get very hot out, and I don't want to deal with those elements. So I will not run. I will not do it on a day that's. I won't do it in the summertime here in Sacramento. Just I made that mistake in powerlifting, competed on days when it was really hot. A lot of the facilities didn't have much in terms of AC, so you just, you would be dumping a lot of weight while you're trying just to do 1 rep maxes. So I think to be at a track for many hours waiting my turn while it's super hot out probably wouldn't be a good idea. But I'll make it a point to compete at sometime in 2025. And maybe I'll just do maybe I'll just sign up for a bunch of shit and just do it, like, I don't know how many different things you can do, but maybe do 100, 200, 400, 800. You just sign up for all of them, just go and just do all of them at 80%. I don't know. Figure out what to do. But it'd be good to get official times, right? Maybe focus on one of them, but do 2 or 3 different events. Would be a lot of fun. Tomorrow, so yesterday, no running. Actually, the last couple days there's been no running. I've been on a Peloton bike. But tomorrow, if the foot feels good, I will probably do my Henshaw Hill stuff tomorrow, which is approximately 3-minute run, 80% cresting up and down over a hill. That one has really been powerful for my lungs. So I'll probably do that tomorrow. Or I'll do the 90-second stuff that I really like doing. I did that 2 or 3 weeks ago, and that felt blissful because of the speed of the running. Felt really good. Yesterday I did a bunch of sandbag stuff, med ball tosses, punching bag, and just a lot of moving around, a little bit of jumping. And that workout was probably about 40 minutes or so. And then actual workout time for this was super short, but it was all that warming up stuff. I think it's helpful to learn to start to have multiple victories for the day, I did everything that I set out to do today. That was spot on. I do think that my form could have been maybe a little bit better. So next time I do this, I'll do 2 or 3. I'll do 2 or 3 runs that kind of don't count towards my main sets. I'll do those with a little bit lesser intensity just to kind of get myself prepared and ready. But it was an amazing day. Came out here, did the rope flow, did some of the mace stuff, got the med ball stuff in there, and ended up with some really great sprints. I do think I forgot to bring my watch. That would have been good so I could see my actual speed. But I think my best so far, according to my watch, has been 13 miles an hour or stuff like that. I actually think I'm a little faster than that, but it is what it is. It's where I'm at for now. So I need to continue to measure that and to have that measurable, have it improve over time. And so, yeah, I think that it's important that we have multiple victories that we can get in a given day. A friend of mine recently said that he celebrated his son's birthday and he had some ice cream and he did some of this and some of that. And I said, yeah, but after you ate that stuff, did you binge? And he said, nope. And I said, you won. That's a huge victory. So we need multiple victories that we can gather every single day so you can learn how to feel like a winner instead of a loser. Strength is never weakness, weakness never strength. Catch you guys later.